I completely agree with you with what you said. Just like everything, social media has its own pros and cons. However, it is currently misused, and the cons outweigh the pros. So it's important we create awareness about it, which is why what we're doing is this project. So moving forward, when I was researching about your background, I realized or I came to the conclusion that you were an endocrine specialist or you were served as an endocrine specialist. So relating to that, I wanted to ask what do you perceive as a relationship between mental health and hormonal imbalances? Do you believe social media plays a role in affecting these hormonal levels?
Yes. Well, I'm not an endocrinologist, but I do endocrine surgery because I'm a surgeon. So I operate upon thyroid gland, parathyroid glands, adrenals. So you can say that I've got a link with the hormone producing organ surgery. We are chemical beings. Whatever is happening inside us is actually chemical reactions. When we breathe, we take oxygen in, there is a chemical reaction. It joins with the food which we have assimilated, and then it produces carbon dioxide, water, and energy. And then energy is again utilized, stored in the form of chemical compounds, and these chemical energy, whenever is required, is converted into mechanical energy or what type of energy. I mean, I'm talking to you, my lips are moving, my tongue is moving, my vocal cords are moving. They all require energy, and that energy, after few minutes before, it was actually stored in the chemical compounds. And all those chemical activities, they are under control of hormones. So hormones are chemical substances, and these hormones are not only controlled by inner chemical milieu, but they are also affected by our outer environment. For example, if suddenly you realize that underneath your feet there is a snake, so just a thought of it will immediately give you a surge of hormones, which are adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol. They will give you a surge in your blood. Now, this is important because these are the hormones required for fight or flight. So, either you have to kill that snake or you have to save yourself and run somewhere else. For that, you need energy. For that, you need the glucose, which is stored in the form of glycogen, to be broken down and come into glucose so that you can run. It actually affects on your eyes, and your eyes becomes wide open so that maximum light is absorbed and you can visualize the things which are happening there. So whatever is happening outside us are actually affecting our hormones, and there are hormones of peace and tranquility, and there are hormones of fight and flight. So these fight and flight hormones are very important whenever there is an emergency. But when we create an emergency situation all the time by creating sensations on us, then this state is not a normal state. Because when those hormones which puts us into a fight and flight mode, they actually take blood and nutrition at the cost of the development of the other organs, which is our brain. This is why it is important that young children must be kept away from the screen. Because when I'm saying young, I'm saying less than 5 years of age. In that age, we don't want them to be in a fight and flight mode for most of the time, because it actually affects the development of their brain. So the answer to your question is that yes, when we create an artificial world around us, may it be in the form of screen, may it be in the form of artificial environment in our room, may it be in the form of artificial food which we have, and may it be in the form of artificial relationships. Please remember, the problem with this generation, the tragedy with this generation is that they are confused between connections and relations. Relations are as important as food and an oxygen for a human being. 25% of a human being is emotionality. A human being has got physicality, it has got an intellect, it has got emotionality and spirituality. So one fourth of us is actually emotionality, and the food for emotionality and nourishment for the emotionalities are healthy relationships. Unfortunately, this social media is giving us a false false sense of relationship, which is actually not a relationship, but it's a connection. And there's a difference between, so if someone has 5,000 connections on a Facebook, it cannot replace a one healthy, real, organic relationship. So the answer to your question is that yes, very much. This social media, if it is not used with responsibility, is affecting us a lot in our relationship, hence affecting our mental health.
Thank you for answering those questions. Over to Aska.
All right. How do you see the influence of social media on body image and self esteem, particularly among younger patients? And can you please provide examples of how this may affect their health?
Uh, I would like to repeat what you said so that I'm sure that I understood it well. You asked that what is the effect of social media on someone's body image and
Yes, and
also
self esteem.
someone's, yeah, and self-esteem. Okay, well, straight away answer is yes. It has got immense effect because when you see people whose profession is to look, it is a requirement of their profession is to look smart. The requirement of their profession is that they should look white in color, for example, and smart, and have got a body figure which is very very smart, because it is the requirement of their profession. For example, the models, the actors, the sports people, sportsman people. And when someone starts comparing himself or herself with those people, if he is not trained, then his self-esteem is affected. Then the problems with personal body images, they actually they arise. So the answer to your question is yes. And the what is the remedy? The remedy is again what I initially urged, and that is to train ourselves. We should understand, and training ourselves means that we are very strong over here mentally. Every child before the age of 5, the parenting goal for any parent for the child, if you ask me to give 4 parenting goal, the first is that your child should be confident. And confidence does not mean that he can just stand and can tell you which country has got which capital, right? When I say when or he can just narrate a whole poem. Confidence means that he considers himself worthy because of good reasons. A child understands that I am better than others because I always speak the truth. I'm very happy from myself because I always look after my grandparents and my parents. So for right reason, if someone has got a self image, this is what is called confidence. The second is creativity. Creativity means that whenever creativity just not only means that he can make a good painting. Creativity means that whenever he has got unusual circumstances, he is able to devise some method to handle those unusual circumstances. That is, so confidence is required, creativity is required from every child. So if yeah, but unfortunately, in our system, the main parenting goal is that child should acquire 7 stars in O level and 5 stars in A level and 1100 marks out of 1100, right? So this may just fetch a degree for him or maybe admission in a university, but it does not teach any life science to a child. So I think the answer to your question is that yes, excessive use of social media does affect on our self-confidence, self-efficacy, and we start comparing apples with oranges. We start comparing in a wrong with wrong parameters, and so the answer is that we have to train our children, and I will strongly urge that before the age of 5, a child should be kept away from screen as much as possible. And that should, but that will only be possible if parents have to have a time to take that child to the alternatives, which are taking them to the gardens, taking them to the trees, taking them to the relatives' homes, taking them to the hospitals, showing them the real nature. So that's what I feel.
Right. And can you please provide examples of how this may affect their health?
Yes, obviously, if you are mentally not very strong, then you are physically not very strong as well. They go side by side. If you are mentally weak, if your confidence level is low, if your self efficacy is low, if your self esteem is very low, and you consider yourself inferior, then it affects your all productivity. Whatever potentials you are born with, you are not able to express those potentials very effectively.
Right. How does sleep, as an essential component of mental health, interact with human body functions, and how might social media usage impact sleep?
Yes, very nice. Thank you for asking this question. I think our discussion would have been incomplete without addressing this issue. We think that the active part of our day is when we are awake, and the passive part is when we sleep. I want to just make it clear that sleep is not just active, but it is the super active part of our 24 hours. Right? Because whatever we do the whole day, we interact with the people, we learn new things, we perform different activities. So all of them are just like that. We mess up on a table when an office when a worker leaves his office. There are a lot of files there on the table, right? And when we sleep, this is the time when our brain organizes all those things which we messed up in the day. So in our brain, there are categories, there are which are called schemas. So whatever we have learned, whatever we have done the whole day, the time of our sleep is the time when all those things are organized in our brain at particular compartments where they are needed. So that whenever they are needed, we can fetch them, we can take them out from that. So sleep is that time. Another example is that you have a glass of water, and you have got, and this is your energy. This has got a limitation. So when you wake up, you have got a full glass. Now you do something, some of it is being used, then you do some other work, some is used, and by the time when it is night, then you have emptied your glass, and now this glass has to be refilled. This is your energy, this is your ability to focus, this is your ability to concentrate. This is your ability to do creative activities. So, sleep provides you the refill. If it is not refilled, then you are empty next day and you will not be able to perform it properly. Now, what is its relation with social media? I can scientifically explain to you that when sun starts setting and the color of the light changes, when color of the light changes, that is perceived by our eyes. It goes from our eyes to our brain, and there is a structure there called pineal body. It produces a hormone called melatonin. This melatonin is nowadays available in market as well as a kind of a sleeping pill. I'll not advise you to take it, but I'm just trying to emphasize that melatonin, when it is produced, it gives us a sense that now I should sleep. And this process starts from Maghrib time onward. So ideally, after Maghrib namaz, one must start preparing for the rest time. And the best time to have your dinner is around 7:30 to 8 o'clock. And then you have your Isha prayer, you have little walk, and that is the best time to go to sleep. Right? So if you go, because if you do that, then you are doing according to what our chemistry is